So here's a couple things along your journey. And I still do some of these. I'll say this one I do right now. I have a piece of tourmaline and a piece of selenite right outside my front door. I had them sent to me by Rockman Chris at Kaylee's Moon Crystals as a gift. He always puts a little handwritten note. You guys that order from him, you know that. And he put a little note in there. This was 6 months ago or so. And he said, put these by your door. And I thought, that sounds good. I didn't do it because I thought it was some massive message from, spaces trying to tell me something. I just thought that sounds good. Who wouldn't want to have some pretty crystals by their doors? So I set them outside my front door. Above my door, these are doors that go to the outside of my home. So I have a front, back, and a side. A long time ago, I took sage, and I would sage my house every probably month or a couple weeks at that time. I actually have not saged my house in multiple months now, but there is so much light moving through this house. It's just, I can see it now part of the time with my physical eyes. So it's just a different understanding of vibration. But that's what I mean. Know you and know your space. Above my doors on the inside of my home, I took sage I would just this was several months ago. After you burned, you get the ashes in a little bowl or whatever. And I would put them on my finger and I said a blessing. And I made a symbol of my own inner knowing above my doors. Just felt to do it. I liked it. It felt good. Didn't read it anywhere, but my being said, let's smear smudge sage above our doors. Let's smear it above the doors. I said, okay. So I did that. I always wear crystals, you know that. And I do like things that also help with the environment and are very grounding. But I think I work in very high energy. We all do with Acasma. And so that's very helpful to the human body, the vessel of the light, to anchor when you're, emanating and being and carrying very high spaces of vibration. I have crystals by my bed. I have tourmaline. I love tourmaline, and tourmaline's extremely grounding. Tourmaline in by my bed. I have labradorite around me. Labradorite by my bed forever. Actually, the shape of an angel wing. It's about this big, and it's by my bed. These big guys back here, the blue, that's a big piece of labradorite. There's another one on the other end, but the light's not hitting it. But I love crystals around me. Crystals are energy, and they're beautiful, pure, high vibrational, healing, clearing, protecting energy. And I just have them everywhere. It's your space, right? I do the shield of love that came in September last year. The Sacred Heart, right? You learned it with AQE. When we do the Acasma star in front of the heart, and then the star grows out around the human body and field, and that's an impenetrable shield of love. I place my hand on my heart in the morning. Do I miss some mornings? Yes. If I have a funny feeling, do I place my hand on my heart and say this? Yes. I just edify, fortify, restore that shield of love. For me, it is Armour of the One. It is the Armour of the One around my being. It's like the source, God, emanating out from my being, all around my being. So that's another thing that I implemented last year. That was a new thing. Baths, soaks, salt soaks, awesome for clearing and just feeling like your field is amped up again with loving nurture and protection. Sometimes if I feel to, and again, I don't come from a sense of okay, there are moments, yes, where I will have a feeling, a funny feeling. And I just now go into my mind and I see the person or the space or the event, and I just see the light emanating from me and around me, and there's just nothing can come through the light. And it's a vibrational understanding as well that you anchor. And we talked about this once before. Energy connects via alignment. We know this. Energy connects via alignment. You cannot take something that is really low and connect it into something that is really high. If we could, no one would have an issue with creating their lives because they wouldn't have to clear and shift and heal in order to align these other spaces. And how many times have you experienced wanting to connect with your higher self or your light team or angel, star being, and you're not getting that clarity. You're not getting that full-blown knowing and answers and conversation. That's because it's just not that simple. It's energy. The energy vibrations have to find alignment within a certain amount of increment of vibration, of frequency. It's like the radio dial. You got to get close enough to that radio station in order to pick it up and hear it. You can't turn to 92.3 and hear 107.4. It's not going to work. If you want to hear 107.4, you might pick it up at 107.3, right? Might be a little staticky, but you might hear it in and out, but you got to get close. So allow yourself to understand that. Allow yourself to really anchor that knowing, because that's powerful. When these denser spaces are said or spoke of, people are talking about them and they're acting like, you need to do this, that, and the other because these denser spaces. Where are you? Where are you? That's what you need to know. If you know where your core is at and where your vibration is at, that is going to tell you what you need to implement. And be honest with yourself. If certain spots of your life, because we can ebb and flow, right? We ebb and flow. If you move into a space of your life where you're like, I know my vibration, I've been hit with a lot of fear content lately, and I know I've given in a bit, and I know I've been worrying a bit, or I've been overthinking a bit, then you may want to implement accordingly some nurture, some care, and some protective measures to be compassionate with your being as it makes its way out of that space and gains the wisdom that you aligned that space for. Does that make sense to you? There's so much here. But it's important because we are not living in the same space we were. We've got to understand this is going to be different. If it doesn't look different, what we teach, what we understand, what we comprehend, how we identify, how we relate, if that's not looking different, we are not in a different space. We are where we've always been. It has to be different. It makes sense to be different. That is the alignment. We are the transitioning, because we're ever evolving, ever expanding, but we are nowhere where we were. No way, no how. So allowing ourselves to understand that and be really present with you, listen to you. And when you feel fear, because we still feel these emotions, fear and all of them, we're human. We have the ability to feel anything and everything in the human gambit of emotions, right? But allow yourself to come from, if you can, no judgment on this, it's just offering this understanding. When you feel it, I know this sounds crazy, but try not to be afraid of fear. Try to just listen to you in the space in which the fear has come. Try to just listen to you, lean in. Why am I feeling fearful? It's bringing you a message. You aligned it to bring you this message, to allow you to move into the next space of you. It's the ticket to the next space. And that in itself is a powerful identification, right? We're identifying with that space in a new way, not in a rebuke, jump back, say 3 things, throw salt over your shoulder, whatever your thing is. None of that has to be bad. It's just there's other things you're starting to embrace. What you drop, when you drop, is up to you. None of them are wrong because honestly, it's all based on what you believe. It has to be. You've got to listen to you. If your belief is throwing salt over your shoulder is going to protect you, it will. It really will. It's an energetic alignment with faith. Faith that anchors you into a truth, an identification with a truth. And that's how powerful we are. So really just know you. And what's fun about it is how fluid that can be. You can change any belief at any time that you can anchor your faith in. Anything you anchor your faith in becomes the new go-to alignment. So whatever you love, keep loving. And whatever protects and guides and nourishes you, being honest with yourself, keep doing that. But allow that space to contemplate the fact that vibrationally you are changing and have changed. Therefore, you are functioning in a new space where the meaning of everything is a bit different, or maybe very different, depending upon the difference of that vibrational change for you. So as you move into higher vibrations of you, you're going to release lower vibrations of you. It's inevitable. They can't come with you. So that's why stuff comes up. And this whole protection and fear thing is one thing you're going to navigate looking at. But I want to give you at least two things that you could be aware of, that if you haven't already had a really face-to-face one-on-one with, you probably will. Of course, we visit these spaces at different intervals and increments as we're ready to continue to vibrationally shift. But unforgiveness is a space that we visit when we are leaving lower spaces of ourselves. Unforgiveness that we hold for ourselves, because people forget that one, and unforgiveness that we hold against others. And that's a whole nother topic in itself, of forgiveness not being condoning. I'm very deep on that one, but I want to speak it out loud so your consciousness and your mind can hear it. Unforgiveness and self-love, but the lack of, so more like low self-worth, low self-esteem, no self-trust. These are spaces that these vibrations, they do not stay in you the minute you start to open up to your wholeness and expand into higher vibrations of yourself. Unforgiveness comes up to be seen. If you have any for anyone or for yourself, it will show itself. And it is not because your life is screwed up and you're in a bad place. It's because you're moving to a higher place and it can't go with you. It can't go with you. There's nothing wrong with you if you're feeling like this space, this experience, this understanding, this relationship is showing up. You didn't do anything wrong. You did everything right. It's showing up because you're leaving and it can't go with you. Now, if you choose to jump back in when it shows up and grab a hold of it and get all up in it, then you made the decision not to vibrationally continue to expand in that moment, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine, because you decided you needed to get something else from that space. You're not done. You have that right. Nobody's doing anything to you or to me. We have the right to stay where we want as long as we feel we need to, and leave when we know we're ready. And the self-love, self-worth, some people are living in self-hate. And they don't trust themselves. They don't love themselves. They don't think they're worthy of others' love. And it's buried really deeply. When the experiences show up with relationships or whatever it is, thoughts, and they're showing you that, or me that, there's nothing wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. You did everything right because you aligned a space to bring yourself an important understanding so that you could continue to heal you, your wholeness, your sovereignty, and move into that space of yourself. So be mindful of the stories that you tell yourself and others. Quiet your mind when you can. If you have a practice daily, that's awesome. If you don't, that's okay. That's awesome too. Everybody is exactly where they need to be. But when you quiet the mind for even 10 minutes, you learn how to listen in a new way. And you learn how to hear in a new way. And that allows you to live, be, respond, identify, relate in a new way. But unending blessings upon you, divine ones. Unending.